and by the people in order to advance the people's progress and address the people's issues. So that's what we're here to do today. Clown is a tactic of protest and a political action that has spanned across every continent throughout all of human history, and we are really proud to take up that legacy and to bring it here to Portland and in strong and unwavering solidarity with the Cuban people and with all people of the world that are suffering under the boot of US imperialism. Clown is, first and foremost, physical comedy. It works to simplify really big, complicated ideas down into something digestible and interesting. We do not believe in simple or reductive solutions, but we do believe in this artistic tactic to promote a people's analysis of what our problems and solutions are. So, with that being said, I will pass it off to my clown rads. Take it away.
Thank you, Clownbloc. Thank you. Just before the turn of the 20th century, people all over the world were struggling against and besting the cruel hand of imperialism. From Cuba to the Philippines, colonial powers, most notably the Spanish, were on the back foot, and liberation struggles neared success. But as these peoples struggled to free themselves of colonial rule, the U.S. was looking to expand its reach. And as people fought for their independence, the U.S. offered a helping hand with a few strings attached. In the 1898 Treaty of Paris, Spain stole the U.S. Cuba, and the people's freedom was sold off to a new master. So Cuba became once again a colony. Now subservient to its neighbor, it was granted nominal independence, but continued to have a reoccurring U.S. military presence and puppet rule, plundering the land for resources. Despite the U.S. attempts to kill the Cuban people's spirit, Cuba was successful in overthrowing the U.S. puppeted authoritarian regime of Fulgencio in 1959, even after the U.S. imposed an arms embargo in 1958, which is still in effect today. The U.S. was a big whiny baby about this loss as usual, and continuously expanded the embargo in the years to come to include all sectors of commerce, trade, and travel. To detail all of the sanctions the U.S. imposed to the crippled the Cuban exchange of goods and culture with the rest of the world would take quite a while, but to give a little taste, throughout this part, the embargo states that there can be no travel between Cuba and the U.S. unless authorized by the authoritarian forces in the U.S. And any vessel that enters a port in Cuba cannot come to the USA for 180 days unless specifically permitted by the U.S. government. This was a blatant attempt to force countries around the world to choose between trade with the U.S. and Cuba. In fact, in 1960, the U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Inter-American Affairs, Leslie Mallory, wrote in a secret mandatorium that stated that
every possible means should be undertaken promptly to weaken the economic life of Cuba, denying money, supplies to Cuba, to decrease monetary and real wages, to bring about hunger, desperation, and overthrow of government. This is a real quote.
To add insult to injury, since U.S. gained direct control of the island, the U.S. has kept a firm grasp on naval ports, with the Guantanamo Bay Naval Base serving as an American foothold. And in 2002, with George W. Bush's so-called war on terror, Guantanamo Bay has become home to an infamous CIA black site and detention facility. Boo! Boo! Around the world for its depravity, Guantanamo serves as a cruel stain on the land unbeholden to the Cuban people. Now, you may be asking yourself, what does the rest of the world think of this whole thing?
Love it.
Nobody likes the embargo. Nobody! Well, the genocidal Zionist entity of Israel does. And Guantanamo Bay has been condemned worldwide for human rights abuse, torture, and prolonged detainment of criminals, some of which may never see any charges of any kind. Every year since 1992, every UN member, aside from Israel and the United States, have unanimously passed a resolution against the US's ongoing embargo of Cuba. In spite of this, the US enshrined the embargo into law under the, and I quote,
Oh yes, we've got to make sure those Cuban people stay free. That's why we passed the Cuban Liberty and Democratic Solidarity, or Liberton Act, to make sure they can't get any resources.
In 1996, and it remains active 66 years after it began in 2025, here we are. Are we going to stand for this?
No!
Let's do that again. Are we going to stand for this?
No!
Nice. When Cuban rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When Cuban rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When Cuban rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Long live international solidarity!
Long live international solidarity!
Long live international solidarity!
Long live international solidarity!
Long live international solidarity! Yeah! Thank you all.